Hey everybody, this is Ron from SceneGrinder, and I'm here for part 3 of how to create a scene in SceneGrinder. And if you remember in our last video, we added some 3D models to our scene. So in this video, we're going to work on transforming the terrain. So I'm going to zoom in on my human village over here and spin it around a little bit. Okay, so now I'm going to go to the terrain editing tool. And so at the top, these selections up here give you different types of terrain that you can put down. And keep in mind, the number of options that you see up here will be dramatically increased when it comes to release time. There'll probably be at least 50 or 60 different options up here. So this is what we've got right now on our dev site. So the way this works is you select the type of terrain that you want to put down. And let's just say that we've got this nice green terrain over here, but we want something that's got a little more texture to it. So we're going to choose this type of grass that has some brown to it. And then I get my little circle there, and I'll go ahead and make it larger. And then the way this works is you see the terrain is getting replaced with what I chose. Now, when you're looking at the trees here, you see you got that one 3D model there in the center there. And right next to it, you've got a 2D image of a tree. When I drag this terrain tool over there, all of the 2D images get replaced with the new 3D terrain. There you go. So that's one thing that you can do with the terrain tool, is you can replace the 2D map with a different version. Another cool thing you can do with the terrain tool is you can blend terrain together. So let me go ahead and pull this back up again, and this time I'm going to select some stone, and I'll take stone 22, and I'll put a block of stone down there. Now, as you can see, the stone looks really cool, but it doesn't really fit very well because you've got this hard edge between the grass area and the stone. So what you can do is, I'm going to go back to my terrain tool, then I'm going to click on blend, and I'm going to select my grass again. Now when I put it down, you can see it's not putting solid grass down, it's doing kind of a blend between the two. And the longer you hold it in an area, you can see there, then the heavier of the blend. So this is a really cool way to mix different terrain types and make it look kind of natural. All right, so one more thing to show you with the terrain tool, and that's changing elevation. So I'm going to go back into the terrain tool, and then you can see you've got this decrease, clear, and increase, and also circle and stone. So when you're changing elevation, if you choose the circle option, then you'll have a fall off. So basically it'll have a slope on the terrain. If you choose the square option, then it's just a straight 90-degree fall off. So for example, I'm going to take this hill that we've got there in the center that looks nice, but it's a flat 2D hill, and I'm going to increase it using the square tool to make it taller. So let me go back on the map. And you can see I've got the square rectangle now, and it's set to 2.5 feet. I'm going to bump it up to, let's go with 12.5 feet. All right, so I'll make the rectangle a little bit larger, and let's just bump this hill up a bit. All right, I'm not going to finish it right now, but just to give you an idea of how this works. There you go. Okay, so now if I look at it from the ground level, you can see that this hill is now clearly higher than the rest of the terrain. So that's an example of increasing the height. I'm going to go over here to the pond that we've got, and I'm going to do the exact opposite. I'm going to go back again to the tool. I'm going to leave this one on circle so we'll get the sloped edges, and I'm going to put it on decrease. And for decreasing, I'm going to go with -20, so make it kind of a deep pool. So it's going to be 20 feet deep. All right, I come back out here. And by the way, as you can see, I actually left it on the square tool accidentally, but you get the gist. So there we go. So now the pond is now sitting there at 20 feet deep. And I'm going to go ahead and pause the video for a minute here and finish up my terrain changes for the height. and then I'm going to add water to this pond and show you how that looks. So hold on just a second, and I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back now, and as you can see, I made just a few changes to the scene. First off, to give it more of a grungy feel, I made the orc area kind of sandy and muddy. Over here on the human side, I did some blending with some paths and stuff. And while I was at it, I went ahead and I gave him a cornfield, added the cemetery. One of the things, this is completely up to everybody's personal preference. For me, I don't like hard edges on anything, so I do a lot of blending all along this path, as you can see. In the center, I thought the two hills looked kind of cool, but I also like snow. So I made the center a lot taller with a nice peak and snow all around it. And over here you can see I have added water. So what I did was I pushed the elevation down in this area, and then I went over to my map settings and I selected water type of wavy for anything below 2 feet. You'll also notice a couple of other things. You got some fish swimming around in the water. You've got some buried relics, buried rowboats, another rowboat over there. Anyway, just playing around with it a little bit, and you can see there's a whole lot that you can do pretty quickly and easily with the creating scenes in SceneGrinder. And that's going to wrap up this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks, everybody, and happy gaming.